Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. It looks like there's a very high probability that that agency is going to be disbanded now that the Republicans are in charge of the House. It's going to be, I would say it's about maybe a 60% chance, and I'll talk about the reasoning behind it. Uh, and then I want to make a correction on something, and I really appreciate one of the YouTube subscribers for enlightening me to read through the decision again from a video that I made the other day about debt that is past statute of limitations being able to be put into a chapter 13 bankruptcy as a loophole for remedy uh, for a debt collector to be able to collect on it because they can't take you to court to collect on it, and there's no legal options for them to be able to make you pay a debt that's past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Just so people understand that are maybe new to the channel or maybe don't understand what statute of limitations mean when it comes to a debt that can be collected. It's also known as time barred. If you look under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it's known as time barred debt. Time barred debt or debt that's past statute of limitations, there is a limit that debt collectors can legally collect a debt. The problem is that it varies from state to state. Some states have a 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. Some states, even the worst state, has a 15-year statute of limitations on collecting a debt. There's also different statute of limitations for the type of debt. There's for opening accounts like credit cards, or uh, maybe there's a loan where you can pay on it and you get to recharge on it again, or get the loan on that again, like an open line of credit. Those are usually a shorter statute of limitations time frame with most states. Uh, Debts that are like a automobile or personal loan that is not where you can pay on it and get money back again. Those are usually longer statute of limitations. But something that I'm starting to see now across the board with all the states is that they're starting to, sorry about that, let me get my phone on silent. What we're starting to see from state to state is that they're starting to make the statute of limitations across the board, where if it's 3 years, it's 3 years, 4 years, 4 years, six, like that. So, I mean, I don't know what's the reasoning behind it. Maybe they're saying that a contract is a contract. Another statute of limitations that is not widely known, and it actually supersedes the state statute of limitations for a particular type of debt. That's utility type debts and cell phone and cable, because those are regulated by the federal government. Those debts are actually under a 2 year statute of limitations. That's why you'll see a lot of cell phone debt. It goes bad and the company never contacts you, and then real fast you'll see a debt collector take over the debt, and you're like wondering, okay, do I have to pay you? But if you think about it, they are coming a lot quicker than you would have, like your credit card debt or your automobile debt went bad. Those would take a period of time before they would change hands. But statute of limitations on communications debt is 2 years, and when you get one, like if you had a cell phone bill or something in the past that went bad, they would not be able to collect on you, even if your statute of limitations might say 4 years. Uh, they cannot collect on that debt due to the federal statute of limitations on regulated utilities, which is cell phone companies, electric companies, that provide utilities, your gas, those types of companies. Another thing is that I wanted to mention. Well, I'm going to tell you the solutions on what we got to do, uh, and before we get to the mistake or the misinterpretation that I had, there is a portfolio that's being released The charge-off date is 2017. The amount of the charge-off balances, the total portfolio is $3.1 million, 2,026 accounts, average balance is $1,534. Another one that I just got yesterday, I was going to make a video yesterday about it, $12 million, $12.5 million, 17,591 accounts. Average charge-off date is 2011, so this will be past statute of limitations for a lot of states. And they actually put the sale price on here, 0.00278 cents per account. So now you see if they're buying the account for less than a penny on the dollar, and they have 17,591 hits at the to try to knock the ball out of the park, how many debt collectors do you think would try to, go after that, even though the debt is past the legal statute of limitations to collect? Now, why would any debt collector buy the debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in 90% of the states in the United States? The reason why is because people don't know their rights, and people are falling for it all the time. People are getting debt reset all the time by making a payment and entering into a new contract. They just don't know what they don't know. And that's why I make these videos. That's why I repeat it all the time in every one of my videos. If you have a debt that's coming, a debt collector sends you that letter requesting that you pay a debt. The first thing that you do is you need to look at your state's statute of limitations. Well, the first thing you need to do is go to your credit reports and look at the charge-off date. You're not going to see this on the free reports. Go to the website that I have listed below, yourorder3scores.com. Get those credit reports, and I want you to look at when, in the comment section, when does it say that the debt was charged off, because that's when the clock starts ticking for the statute of limitations. If the debt is past the legal statute of limitations, according to your state, you can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. At the bottom, click on the blog and go to my and type in statute, and you'll see statute of limitations for all 50 states. If your debt is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, all you have to do is send them one letter, and that's a cease and desist collection activities. The statute of limitations notification letter, letting them know that they cannot legally come after you for that debt and that you want them to cease all collection activity. And that's all you got to do. You don't have to do a debt validation. Some people say, well, I did a debt validation on the debt that was past the legal statute of limitations to collect. No, you're doing it wrong. People are telling people to do it wrong. I'm the only one that's talking about statute of limitations stuff because nobody else even believes it happens, and it happens all the time. They wouldn't have a portfolio out there available for it. You wouldn't have the lawsuits out there available. You wouldn't even have the one where I made the mistake and didn't miss the section of the decision. You wouldn't have a debt collector trying to utilize a loophole to insert debt that's past legal statute of limitations into a Chapter 13 repayment plan. So debt collectors are buying them all the time. The major ones, the small ones, it does not matter. They're trying to figure out ways to get people to pay. And if a person just pays because they don't know their rights, you got 17,591 people who may not know their rights, and they're going to end up potentially paying a debt. Even if it's 1,000 of them and 1,000 of them paid, and it says average balance $1,000, you have, what is that, 1,000 times 1,000? That's $1 million, right? So you have 1,000 times 1,000. That's $1 million, and they paid pennies on the dollar for those accounts. That's what I'm saying. You gotta be careful, and even if you know about it, you gotta like this video because it's gonna help someone else. And if you're only just thinking about yourself, I don't want you on my channel anymore. Just put it that way. So that's what you do there. If the debt is not past legal statute of limitations and you see it on the bottom on those credit reports in the comments section, if it's not past legal statute of limitations, then you should send them a cease and desist collection activities letter, which is a letter that breaks down point by point what you're going to challenge when it comes to that debt that they're trying to collect. A lot of debt collectors do not expect you to know what to ask them, and because just because they bought the debt does not legally make them 100% able to win any case because there's certain documentation that they have to have it. If they only have it if you make them prove it. If you question them on it, that's the only times that you ever run into that type of situation. So before we move forward, I want to make those letters available to you. I have an updated pack. It's only $29.95. They're below this video here, or you can get my free pack. It's up to you. Please make a donation if you decide to get those. You could utilize those. It could save you time. It could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. It's going to give you the answers that you've been looking for, so you don't have to deal with someone who's going to give you a letter that might work. This is stuff that is working every day in my office. Now, let's get into where I made a mistake, and I want to apologize again. The with the case, and it was with Midland. I didn't mention the debt collector. What it was, this is what happened: is that the debtor filed for Chapter 13 uh, bankruptcy. Midland Credit tried to insert their a debt that they purchased into the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Now, how did they find out they were filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy? Is that they're doing tracing with people, and when they get in touch with people, people will say, "Hey, I'm filing bankruptcy. You can't make me pay this debt because call my attorney." Well, a lot of people don't know this is that when they get the information, the attorney is going to say, well, we'll put you on the matrix sheet, and this person is filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That's what the attorney does. Attorney don't is not going to be like, hey, you know what, don't call my client this and that. They're going to say, my client is filing for bankruptcy, and if you want to get added to the matrix sheet, we'll add you to the matrix sheet. So they tried to get themselves inserted on the matrix sheet for a debt that was past the legal statute of limitations to collect. And where I misread it was that the decision was based on that. What happened was, because it was denied being able to be placed in Chapter 13 because it was time barred debt. The plaintiff, which is the individual that they tried to insert that on that had filed bankruptcy, sued Midland, saying that it was a violation of the uh, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act because they were trying to misrepresent what they were misrepresenting what they were doing by inserting that debt in there. And what had happened from the decision was that it was not. It was concluded that it was not a misrepresentation. I don't know fully. I'm going to read a little bit more on that, but they're just saying that it wasn't a misrepresentation by them putting it in there, and that's basically just from decisions from the uh, the courts, where they'll say that we just believe that they could have, like they could say that Midland interpreted their right to do that one way, and that it just didn't, get to the level of them misrepresenting what they were trying to do, which we know what they were trying to do. Now, let's get to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Um, I've been following this for some years, and let me tell you, when Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was formed in 2010, and it was formed under President Obama, and it was because of what had happened with the housing crisis and with all of the bad loans that were made. They wanted to have a department that was like focused on, companies that were making loans and mortgages, and it's kind of moved over to other stuff now. Like they've started jumping on credit repair companies and payday loan companies, and you know, just a lot of stuff that some of the people in Congress believe that it was outside of what they were supposed to be doing because the states have their own rules on certain things. And we found that when you look at some of the things that have happened with the CFPB, like when they've made complaints with the with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, that really nothing happened. They had showed that even though complaints were made through the CFPB that only like 2% was resolved when they did that. That really they just left it up to the companies to resolve what's going on. And the reason why that's starting to happen even more and more is because the CFPB is under a lot of pressure through Congress that they're overstepping their bounds. Like it's like we had the FTC, state governments have their own organizations that watch out for consumer stuff, and then you had this overarching umbrella with the CFPB. And the Republicans, because they've taken over Congress, they have had their eyes on taking this department down. And from a letter that was sent out on the 26th, this 20 September 26th. So this was before they even knew they were. I guess they thought that they were going to have a big red wave, so they were actually putting a lot of stuff into order. But Republicans had the ranking member Patrick McHenry from Republican from North Carolina in the House Financial Services Committee, and James Conner, Republican Kentucky, from the House Oversight and Reform Committee, sent a letter to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's director, and makes reference to a recent Supreme Court decision in West Virginia versus EPA that the members of Congress believe clarified in limitations of certain agency actions. And so basically what they're saying is that the CFPB, with a lot of the actions that they're doing with businesses, with finance companies, that they're overstepping what they were originally put in place to do. But I remember, even without even getting into this letter right here, I remember when the whole thing was put in place, that Republicans said whenever they get a chance that they were going to take that department down. And you might be saying, well, why didn't they take it down when Trump was in office? Because the Republicans had they had the House at one point, and they also and they had the Senate at one point. Why didn't they take it down? Reason why they didn't take it down is because they was so focused on taking down the affordable health care. Like that was mission number one. Like all of them had got put in there not to destroy or take down the CFPB. They had got in there to take down Obamacare. Let's just put it straight out there. I mean, you can remember the stories, the news reports, everything, all of the votes, everything. I think that now, even though they've taken the House, they're not going to take the Senate. That you have Democrat business owners, and you have uh, business owners that lean Democrat, and business owners that lean Republican, that are kind of, I would say, together on the regulations that are or the oversight, saying that the oversight that these agencies have is disrupting the way that businesses can do business. Now, we're not talking about where you're trying to tear people up and take advantage of people, and where these companies are making loans, and they're all of that. There's departments that actually are in charge of doing that with states, and that's where the whole problem is coming from. Is that the Republicans believe that there's already departments in each state that would handle it, and that state has its own rules, and that you can't say that we can say that because you messed up with this area in another state, the CFPB is going to punish you for the whole for every state that you're doing business in. They're just going to punish the whole company. There's also uh, rulings that are going to come down that state that technically there is no uh, 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 how can I say it, that for them to take money, or the way that it's looking is that they just make these rulings, they get $5 million, the people get nothing, and the company pays to get, just says, hey, we don't admit any wrongdoing. We'll pay this fine, and everybody move forward, and the consumers don't even get any help. That you're having a lot of that happen. So they're saying, like, if this is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and then you're having these lawsuits, and then I'm getting like $100, but I was like they gave an example for the mortgage companies. Some of these people lost their home, but they're going to get a check for like $1,000, and they're like, "What is this? What is this agency really doing?" That's what they're thinking. They already thought that with some of the agencies that's in their own state, like when they do these payouts, that it's not a lot. But when you start to have where it's one agency and they're stacking on top of another agency, and we're got the oversight over you, or we got the oversight over people doing business in your state, and then they don't agree, and it just gets all tangled up. And I think that that's one of the biggest reasons why I would not be surprised that sometime in 2023 the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will be disbanded. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'll keep you up to date with new information that I see. I'm actually going to be meeting with my congressperson about another matter, but I'll also ask their office what their opinion is on this also, and I'll report that back to you. But we'll have to see what happens with that. So thank you for your time. Please like this video. Please post your questions and comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that, and hit the notification bell. I want everybody to at least open up and watch the videos that I have and get notified, because I think that we could be doing a lot better job on watching the information that I take the time to put together for you. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. If you where you get your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, cease and desist, and the debt validation letter. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.